5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
And with that, welcome to your Meaty Mosh Podcast. I am your host, Shane Beauregard, coming at you with all your news, reviews, and previews out to watch on your streaming services and your television. I hope everyone's out there staying safe and, more importantly, staying sane. I know as the days go by, it gets harder and harder, especially for those who've been home. I have turned to Minecraft to help my parenting throughout the day. Yes, it is... pains me to say it because I hate having my kids on video games, but both of them just recently got hooked into Minecraft, and that's all they want to do. So, when I'm about to hit that line, I let Minecraft do the parenting for a chunk of time, and this way I could kind of come back and reset. So other than that, folks, it's been the same. There's been no changes here. I just hope everyone out there is staying safe and sane. And before I jump into anything today, I want to give a special shout out to Andrew Morgan, the host and creator of the Nomcast podcast. Go check him out right now where you download your podcasts. He had me on as a special guest last week alongside Mr. Arg and myself, Chris Rodell. And we had an Asian action face-off where he took one movie, The Night Comes for Us, and I took the other movie, Time to Hunt. And we made our case for which movie is the better movie. So go ahead and go check that out. I had a fun time. It was great. And by the way, both those movies are really good. I've talked about The Night Comes for Us for a couple of years now, and it's not for the faint of heart. If I said last week where extraction should give you an erection, you might want your doctor on standby if your erection lasts longer than 4 hours on this film, because that's what it is compared to Extraction. And Time to Hunt is probably one of the better movies I've seen this year. I would slide it into my top 5, which isn't saying a whole lot. But yeah, so go check out both those films on Netflix right now. And then go check out the Nomcast podcast, wherever you get your podcast from. It was a great time. So let's go ahead and jump into a little bit of news. There were 2 movies released this weekend. One being a kids movie, this new Scooby-Doo movie, which apparently is getting really atrocious reviews. And my kids want me to rent it. But I cannot, in good faith, drop the $19.99 that it would cost to rent this movie. So I'm going to have to pass and wait for it to be out for a little while. The other one being Capone, directed by Josh Trank and starring what I think is the pound for pound best actor in Hollywood right now. That is Mr. Tom Hardy. And this is getting less than favorable reviews. It's just a really bizarre movie from start to finish. And Hardy's performance as Capone is just being described in all kinds of weird facets. So, I don't know about that one. I might wait on that one as well, just because of the backlash it's receiving. And, it's disappointing because Tom Hardy usually puts out some quality. It's disappointing because normally Tom Hardy will put out some really quality stuff. Yes, he will lay the occasional egg. Every actor does. But I was kind of excited about this, but now not so much. Moving on, I had some downtime last week. That's an understatement. You know how you always go through these rabbit holes on YouTube? Well, somehow I stumbled across a Kevin James video, a skit, I should say, about the quarantining situation. And I actually thought it was pretty funny. It was like a 2-minute short movie or mini video is what he's calling it. And now I discovered he has a whole channel that he just launched like probably 2 months ago. And it's actually really entertaining. It's probably the funniest thing Kevin James has done since The King of Queens. I had a good time diving down this hole. I highly recommend it. Especially he created a character called the Sound Guy, where he pretty much edits himself into very popular movies as a sound guy, and he kind of reacts to what's going on around him. The editing is spot on these videos. Like the way they put him in there, you can't tell. You actually think he's in the movie. It is great. He has a Star Wars one, A Star is Born, The Notebook, and one of the Rockies, and the Mel Gibson movie Braveheart. And they're all pretty good. So I would recommend go checking out the Kevin James YouTube channel. Yes, that's added to why I feel like I'm in a Twilight Zone episode. I'm recommending Kevin James. And then I discovered JCVD, a.k.a. Jean-Claude Van Damme. has launched a little fitness channel. I swear I picked the wrong profession. Now, in my line of work, more recently, my profession is slowly trying to be phased out by AI systems, talking mirrors, Peloton bikes, and now Jean-Claude Van Damme. This is where I draw the line. First of all, he looks like he just contracted the HIV. He looks like he's at least 50 pounds thinner than what he was in like Expendables 3. And he's wearing fucking foundational makeup. And as far as his videos go, you should just view them more on the humor side than the actual fitness side. I mean, he's working out with apples and water bottles, and it is just utterly ridiculous. So, fuck Jean-Claude Van Damme coming into my turf. Looks like Robert Pattinson is taking some heat this week because he's refusing to work out for his role in the Batman. And personally, I don't really care. Like, I don't need my Batman to be like Christian Bale or Ben Affleck, though I did like both those. Michael Keaton wasn't a goddamn stud when he did Batman, and neither was Val Kilmer. George Clooney just like a regular dude, so I don't have a problem. That being said, Batman should at least look like he could just drop down and knock out 25 push-ups. So at the bare minimum, Mr. Pattinson, knock out some goddamn push-ups. Other than that, I have no problem. And this should come to a shock to everybody, but the New Mutants have been pushed back again. So this time, mid-August, it should be released. There were rumors that it was going to be on Disney Plus, and I think that's the route they should go. I cannot remember a movie ever that's been rescheduled so many goddamn times. If you can think of one, please let me know. I cannot. So hopefully 30th time will be the charm for New Mutants. I want to see this thing so bad now. So, mid-August. As if you needed another reason to watch The Mandalorian on Disney Plus, you get two more reasons. Two of my favorite actors are joining the cast. One is Katie Sackhoff, and the other one is my boy Timothy Olyphant. I don't know what kind of roles they're going to be playing. The Katie Sackhoff one was more clear, but since I don't really care about Star Wars, I didn't jot down the character she's playing. I know, bad host, but it is what it is when it comes to Star Wars, people. But Timothy Olyphant, really exciting, which also reminded me that he is going to be in the new season of Fargo alongside Chris Rock. Fargo season 4 on FX. That should be coming out sometime soon as well. You put that man in anything and I'll watch it. Also coming out in July is the launch of the Peacock streaming services. Yes, I am going to get this. I know what you're saying. But I'm one of the few subscribers, I'm pretty sure, of the DC streaming app. So I'm going to cancel that in favor of the Peacock because most of the DC content is getting shifted over to HBO Max. Like when the new season of Doom Patrol starts up, which that was announced that one's starting this summer as well. It's going to be released on both platforms. So maybe I'll wait to Doom Patrol Season 2 before I cancel the DC thing, but I'm definitely going to hop on the Peacock station for only one really good reason, and that is the new Psych movie coming out. You know how I feel about Psych. I think it's the best show that USA ever had on. So just for the Psych, I will get the Peacock station. And then I'll stay for the Punky Brewsters, see what that does, and dive into the new Saved by the Bell thing, which I know a lot of people aren't on board with, but it looks very much in line in what my kids are currently watching, so I'll check that out as well. Disney Plus did announce they're going to drop 40 titles to their channel coming in June, and the biggest one is supposed to be Artemis Fowl with my boy, another one of my boys. This is a big year for my guys, Colin Farrell. That comes out June the 8th. What's new on Netflix now? You have Magic for Humans, Season 3, Riverdale, Season 4, She-Ra Princesses of Power, Season 5, Patton Oswalt has a new stand-up, I Love Everything, coming out on the 19th. But next week's watch is The Lovebirds with Kumail Nanjiani and Issa Rae. You've probably seen the trailer for this movie. It was supposed to be released in April, and Netflix ended up scooping it up, and it's getting put out next week. So it looked good. I would have seen it in the theaters anyway, so I'm glad it's coming to Netflix. And then you have Trailer Park Boys, the animated series, Season 2, coming out as well. Admittingly, I watch it just because I like the characters, but it's not good television. It's not good. But again, once you fall in love with certain characters, you just kind of roll with them till the whole thing is over. And that's what I'm doing Trailer Park Boys here. So I would not recommend that. On Amazon Prime, you have the movie Seaberg with Kristen Stewart, Vince Vaughn, and Anthony Mackie. It's based on a true story. I saw the trailer for it. I will probably get into that a little bit this week. I need to be lifted out of the gutter this week, folks. This past week made me really reevaluate my life based on the movies I ended up watching this week. You know how you just fall into a pit and you're just stuck there? Yeah, it's time to re-examine who I am as a core person based on what I was watching. On the 18th, you have, speaking of the DC streaming, you have the new season, or the new show, Stargirl, which will also be on the CW the following week. So I guess they're going to drop an episode on DC streaming, and then the following week it'll be on the CW channel. And yes, I pretty much finished all those CW shows about 4 or 5 years ago. I can't even get the words out. I am partly interested in this show. I don't have high expectations for it. Maybe call it the Luke Wilson effect. I do like Luke Wilson, and I'm glad maybe now I won't have to see him in any Colgate commercials, because I felt bad for him at that point when he's doing toothpaste commercials. Come on, Luke Wilson, you're better than that. So yes, that is what is coming this week to your streaming services. And as always, I will give you more updates as they come. So let's see what the top 10 shows and movies currently trending on Netflix are right now. It's always interesting to see what pops up on the top 10. Like 2 weeks ago, they had this movie called Lockout with Guy Pearce and Maggie Grace. It's a standard formulaic movie. I liked it. There's worse ways you can spend an hour and a half, and Guy Pearce, again, is one of my guys I like to watch. And this was a little different role for him, because he always plays like the nerdy guy or just an offbeat, eccentric guy. He actually plays an action star in this one. So a little different turn for him. Again, it was entertaining. I had a lot of fun. I would recommend checking that out. So right now, number 10, Have a Good Trip, Adventures in Psychedelics. That is a documentary style show. Number 9, Trial by Media. Number 8, Magic for Humans Season 3. Number 7, John Henry with Terry Crews and Ludacris. Number 6, the Johnny Depp vehicle Public Enemies, the 2009 film. Number 5, the Netflix original show Outer Banks. Number 4, the Netflix original show White Lines. Number 3, Riverdale Season 4. Number 2, the Netflix original show Dead to Me Season 2. And number 1, surprisingly, David Spade in the Netflix original movie Wrong Missy. Never thought I'd say those words. So let's jump into my, I don't know how to describe it other than depressing week of watching. You know how bad it is? It is bad when the best movie I did see all week was the aforementioned David Spade movie. So let's get the worst one out of the way. And I only watched this because I like Terry Crews. He's a likable actor. I like him in Brooklyn Nine-Nine. I liked him in The Expendables. I saw this was like number 4 at the time on the Netflix top 10. And that is John Henry. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this one because there's no need to. It's sitting at 0% Rotten Tomato critic score with a 24% audience score. This is one of those experiences when you're watching a movie. Now, this movie had a runtime of an hour and a half. It felt like I was watching a 4-hour movie. Terry Crews plays the lead character, obviously John Henry. He is a reformed gang member out to do some good in this world now. And he stumbles upon 2 people that need his help. Because Ludacris is after him. He is the main villain. It is laughable. This movie sets up for a perfect episode of Mystery Science Theater 3000. In fact, I wish they would put this next on their list if they're going to do another season of that, because it plays perfectly. This movie makes no sense. It's poorly written. There's parts where I'm watching it and all of a sudden I kind of thought to myself, am I watching a rap video? Because they do flashback scenes and it literally is like a 3-minute hip hop song, and then it just brings you to present day. Now, he doesn't pick up his hammer till like 58 minutes into this movie. God, I can't even. It's just, it is, as of right now, the worst movie I've seen all year. There is no character development in this movie. I do not buy Ludacris as some kingpin of Compton with this gold-plated half mandible that he has. It's truly ridiculous. The directing's, it's just everything is bad about this movie. I just kept trying to figure out, like, why is Terry Crews doing this movie? And shame on them for naming this movie John Henry. It almost single-handedly just wipes out the myth, the folklore of what John Henry was. So go back to your Disney roots, watch the original animated John Henry. That is much better. This movie almost ruined that entire legacy for John Henry. And it does kind of echo and follow along with the actual folktale. So, like, literally, if one of my kids' life was in danger and the choice was, well, I gotta let one of them go or I gotta watch this movie again, I'm gonna pick my kid. I mean, don't get me wrong there, but I am gonna pause and really think about it for a while. That's how bad this movie is. So, moving on. This next movie I found on Amazon Prime, and it was recommended to me by Amazon Prime, so that should tell you all you need to know about what I normally watch, and that is Howlers, aka High Moon. It has two names, but you can find it on Amazon Prime under the name High Moon. For some god unknown reason, Sean Patrick Flanery is in this film from Boondock Saints. I don't know how they got him in this film. This film is so low budget, it's ridiculous. It looks like we just filmed them on our iPhones. That being said, I actually had a good time with this movie because it doesn't take itself seriously. It knows what it is. It has a story. The premise of this movie is it takes place, the first scene I believe is 1863, and there's a shootout that goes out in the small town. It leaps to present day, where a gunfighter from the Old West returns from the grave to stop a bloodthirsty werewolf motorcycle gang. That description right there that I just read to you is why I watched this movie. So, that being said, it knows what it is. It doesn't stray too far from that. And I will say, as weird as this sounds, because there was like one question I had. There's a scene in here where when the werewolf gang gets resurrected somehow. Oh, there's also a ninja samurai warrior in here that comes out of the blue. Just icing on the cake. So anyway, back to the resurrected werewolves. They come across this biker gang. And they end up mauling the biker gang, getting their jackets, and then riding their motorcycles. My first thought was motorcycles weren't around when they were alive. So how the fuck did they learn how to ride these motorcycles? This B movie, or B- movie, whatever you want to call it, actually answers that in the movie the next 10 minutes. So they kind of answered all my questions. I thought, man, for a movie of this quality to circle back and explain how they rode the motorcycles, I'm buying it. I had a good time with this movie. If you like movies like Werewolf Cop, this is right up your alley, and it does set up for a sequel. I'll just lay that out there. And whenever that sequel comes down, I am all over it. I don't think I need to say anything more about this movie. Except for why maybe I should do some searching and find out why Sean Patrick Flanery, not like he's a big star or anything, but he wasn't that overrated Boondock Saints movie that apparently everybody loves, which is so bad. Anyway, and that leads me into the main event of the week, which was Wrong Missy. Now, this past week, I've been having just a hard time trying to land on something to watch. And I started this movie accidentally because the VP usually has been catching up on Ozark. But she was off doing something. I was like, all right, I'll wait till she gets back. And in the meantime, I'm going to watch this movie. And I'll tell you what, folks, I was pleasantly surprised. Now, right now, this movie's sitting at 25% critic score with a 57% audience score. You have David Spade, Lauren Lapkus. You know her from Between Two Ferns, Orange is the New Black, Big Bang Theory. She was in the HBO show Crashing with Pete Holmes. You'd recognize her. You get a nice, for all you WWE fans, you get a cameo by Roman Reigns. You have Sarah Chalk, I believe I'm pronouncing that right, from Scrubs, and Nick Swartzen. And I'll get back to him in a minute. So the crux of this movie is you have David Spade. He's kind of a loner. He was engaged to Sarah Chalk. They broke it up, and he's been going on blind dates ever since. He went on an initial date with Missy, played by Lauren Lapkus. 3 months go by, and he randomly meets another girl in an airport. Her name happens to be Missy as well. And they hit it off and have a great time. So back at David Spade's work, they're having a work retreat in Hawaii, and Nick Swartzen suggests, hey, you should invite Missy. He ends up texting and inviting the wrong Missy. There you go. There you have it. That is the setup of the movie. That being said, I laughed more than I thought I would. I find myself enjoying this movie way more than I should have. And yes, the humor is that lowbrow hanging fruit humor. And it did take me a while to warm up to... Lauren Lapkus' character, because she's totally off the wall, eccentric and crazy and loud and a hey, look at me kind of person. And the first couple scenes, she almost took me out of it. But she puts in a good performance here. I really liked it. David Spade, it's kind of like he just mailed this one in. He didn't really bring anything special to this movie. I do like his sarcastic kind of humor, but he just mailed it in. He was just there. Yes, this movie is very formulaic, so without even me spoiling anything, you could probably see how this movie's going to go. But again, I was very entertained, and I don't know why. Maybe it was just the strange mood I was in. As I'm watching this, I'm thinking, man, this is probably better than any Adam Sandler original movie he put out, besides the Mirrorwood stories, but that was a more dramatic movie. I'm talking just straight comedies, and not that stand-up singing one that he did. I'm talking about the shitty Western he did, or the Do-Over. I think that one had David Spade as well. But anyway, yeah, this was one of the better Adam Sandler produced David Spade movies I've seen in a long time. Me and the VP both, again, laughed and enjoyed it. And again, the humor is not for everybody. Her portrayal of Missy is not for everybody. I totally get it. You also have Rob Schneider in here playing the same shtick from the character he did in 50 First Dates. He was annoying. He didn't add anything to the movie. But Nick Swartzen, what the fuck is going on, buddy? It looks like he just unstuck his head from a fucking beehive. His face is swollen. Strangely enough, though, his body is not as proportionate to the swollenness of his face. Is that a word, swollenness? My point is, his body looks normal. His whole head and face area looks swollen. I don't know what's going on. I hope he's all right. Even the VP was like, damn, what happened to him? Yeah, it's that noticeable. But in the end, it was an entertaining way. I was pleasantly surprised way to spend my Friday night. So I go higher than the critics, and I'm going to side more or less with the audience. I'm not going to give it a totally fresh grade because it's not a great movie, but it did make me laugh and I was entertained. So I'm going to go ahead and grade this one a 2.5 out of 5 for David Spade and really Lauren Lapkus in Wrong Missy. Now, that grade just reminded me, I forgot to grade the other two movies. John Henry is a halfer. It's 0.5. I think that's the lowest I've ever graded any movie in the 3-year run I've had on the show. 0.5 out of 5 for me for John Henry. Because High Moon is just kind of like a Shane movie. And I did enjoy it. I'm going to give that one a 2.5 out of 5 as well. So, and that one doesn't even have any kind of score on Rotten Tomatoes, by the way. It hasn't been reviewed by anybody. So, I'm going to go ahead and slap a 2.5 out of 5 for it. And that's and as I explained earlier, that's the kind of week I had. But this week, I'm determined to pull myself up out my bootstraps. I'm going to go ahead and watch Lovebirds and maybe that new Kristen Stewart movie, Seberg, and just some better quality stuff. I guess that's what I'm saying, folks. So that's it. Again, I'd like to give a special shout out to Andrew Morgan and the Nomcast for having me on. I do appreciate that. Everyone who subscribes to my podcast, go ahead and subscribe to his and go check out that show that just dropped. And then go ahead and follow me on the Facebooks, Media Mosh, on the Twitterverse at Shane Media Mosh. But more importantly, go to your Apple Podcast store, download me, share me, leave me a quick review, and then circle back and check out Mr. Argue Myself on the Twitterverse, the Instagram, and the Facebook. 3 different platforms for 3 different types of content. I hope everyone stays safe and have a great week. Get caught up in the mosh.